Today, we're going to pull back the curtain on one of the most clever and frankly insidious forms of manipulation there is. It doesn't involve threats. It doesn't use any force at all. No, it uses the one vulnerability that you can never really escape from, your own ego. Okay, let's dive into the anatomy of the compliment trap.
Just let that sink in for a moment. In the world of high-stakes deception, a perfectly aimed compliment is more powerful than any weapon. See, it's not designed to persuade you. It's designed to anesthetize your logic, making you a willing, sometimes even an enthusiastic participant in your own downfall.
So here's our game plan for this explainer. First, we're going to establish how your ego is actually targeted as the primary weapon. Then, we'll get into the specific psychological traps and break down the scammer's playbook. From there, we'll dig into the neuroscience that makes this whole thing so effective. And most importantly, we are going to finish with a strategic defense system to make you practically immune.
So, let's start with the central vulnerability. In any kind of psychological operation, the predator is always looking for the path of least resistance. And, well, more often than not, that path is your own ego, your vanity, that deep-seated, totally human need we all have to feel important, to feel seen and validated.
And this is the real twist of the compliment trap. You know, we're all taught to look for aggression, for those obvious red flags that just scream danger. But the truly skilled manipulator, they don't show up as a threat. They show up as an admirer. They build you up, they make you feel brilliant, and by doing that, they turn you into a silent partner in your own robbery.
So how exactly do they pull this off? This isn't just about being a smooth talker. It's a clinical, biological hack. Scammers have figured out how to use flattery like a key, one that's designed to unlock and completely neutralize your brain's natural defense systems.
And this brings us to this really crucial idea, cognitive softening. When you get a compliment that feels personal, that feels specific to you, your brain releases dopamine. That's the feel-good chemical. Now, here's the crazy part. That chemical rush actively shuts down the parts of your brain that are responsible for critical thinking and skepticism. Let me just put it plainly. When your ego gets a boost, your logical defenses go down. It's not a character flaw, it's just biology.
And modern scammers have this down to a science. They use something we call precision flattery. Think about your own LinkedIn profile for a second. They'll go there, or to your Instagram, wherever. They're not looking for your password. They're looking for your achievements, your awards, your job titles. Then they weaponize that information to create this incredibly specific compliment that feels so good, and it basically acts like a powerful sedative for your skepticism.
So, what does this actually look like out in the wild? Well, it's not random. There's a step-by-step system here, a social engineering playbook that's designed to just systematically take apart your defenses. Let's break it down.
The system is called ego anchoring, and it's got 6 phases. Let's walk through them. First up, identity scraping. That's the homework we just talked about, finding your public achievements. Then comes the ingratiation loop. They'll give you some low-level praise about something you did to make you feel understood. But the third step is the most important, the identity-based hook. This is where they shift from praising what you've done to praising who you are, your amazing vision, your intuition, your genius. Once you accept that label, you're hit with consistency pressure. You now feel this subconscious need to act like the brilliant person they just told you are. And that leads right to step 5, the extraction exit. They'll present some exclusive opportunity that only a person with your vision would see. You jump on it to prove them right. And finally, shame concealment. After it all goes wrong, you're too embarrassed to tell anyone, because admitting you were scammed feels like admitting that whole visionary persona was a total lie.
Let's be crystal clear about what's going on here. This is not a friendly chat. It's not a negotiation. It is, for all intents and purposes, a grooming process. The whole interaction is built around our fundamental human need for validation. The scammer just holds up a mirror that shows you the best, smartest version of yourself, and well, you become addicted to looking at it.
So why is this so devastatingly effective, even against really smart, successful people? Because it doesn't attack your intelligence. It just bypasses it completely and goes straight for our core biology. Let's take a look at the neuroscience of how this hijack really works.
The second you hear that perfect, tailored compliment, it triggers this powerful rush of dopamine right in a part of your brain called the ventral striatum. This is your reward center. It's the same part that lights up when you win money, eat incredible food, or even take addictive drugs. The scammer is literally getting you high on your own ego.
And this just lays it out perfectly. On the right, you've got a brain in a neutral state. It's logic-led, the prefrontal cortex, your analysis engine, is humming along. But look at the left.
When you're under the influence of flattery, your brain is in a state of ego arousal. The reward center is firing on all cylinders and it physically suppresses the prefrontal cortex. You are biologically incapable of clear, critical thought in this state. You're not looking for red flags because your brain is just busy enjoying the dopamine ride.
Okay, we've analyzed the threat. We have deconstructed the weapon. Now, let's pivot. Let's talk about the solution. How do you defend against an attack that targets your own brain chemistry? Well, you build a strategic defense system. You install a few tools and create an unbreakable psychological shield. This is how you take back control.
This right here, this is your emergency brake. The moment you feel that warm, fuzzy, validating rush from a compliment, especially from a stranger and especially when money's on the table, you have to force yourself to ask this one question. Would they still be saying this if I were broke? It's like a cognitive shock, a splash of cold water. It breaks that dopamine spell and forces your analytical brain, your prefrontal cortex, to come back online.
Beyond that one big question, you need to get really good at spotting these operational red flags. First, hyper-specific praise from a total stranger. If someone you've never met compliments that obscure award you won back in 2018, that's not admiration, that is research. Second, pay very close attention to what I call the praise-to-request ratio. If a glowing compliment is immediately followed by an ask, no matter how small, then that compliment wasn't a gift, it was bait. And finally, does the praise make you feel like you owe them something? Your time, your attention, your agreement? That feeling, that's them creating a social debt they fully intend to collect on.
And here is a powerful, direct script you can use to neutralize the attack in real time. The technique is called ego-decoupling. When you get that praise, you say, politely but firmly, "Thank you for the kind words. Now let's review the objective data." This works so well because you acknowledge the compliment, which is socially normal, but then you immediately pivot back to the hard, objective facts. You are re-establishing that logic, not emotion, is going to be in charge of this conversation. You've just taken back control.
And all of this really brings us to the single most important principle. This is the core takeaway, the unbreakable rule you need to internalize to protect yourself, not just from this scam, but from all kinds of other manipulation.
So here's the bottom line. A legitimate partner, a real colleague, a true friend, they want you to be safe. They'll welcome your questions, they will encourage you to do your due diligence because they have nothing to hide. A scammer, on the other hand, needs your vanity to stay pumped up because your ego is the shield that's protecting their lie. They'll get frustrated, maybe even angry at your questions because your questions threaten that dopamine loop they worked so hard to build. This is the mantra. This is your new principle. It should become a conscious thought in any high-stakes situation. Say it to yourself. I value my data over my ego. It's a declaration that you're prioritizing your rational, analytical mind over your fleeting, vulnerable, and very easily manipulated ego. Say it again. I value my data over my ego. So let's do a quick recap of what we've uncovered. This scam is compliment induction, using praise to create that state of cognitive softening that drops your defenses. The system is a 6-step ego anchoring process that grooms you into a character they can then exploit. The psychology behind it all is a ventral striatum dopamine spike that literally bypasses your logical brain. And your most powerful defense is ego-decoupling, learning to reclaim control and always putting data over ego. By understanding the trap, you disarm it. Stay vigilant, and remember, your greatest defense is a well-informed and slightly skeptical mind.